For my lovely 5D mystics, I'm most certain you were in a lot of beautiful and, what's the word? Challenging for some of you. The energies, our lovely solar eclipse, new moon, brought forth the emotions that you tend to. If your 5D, your 3-year-old heart is there with you and you with it, and you use the integration of the brain, the possibility, potential, to think about the emotions that arise and not shove them down. The shoving them down, though, is something we want to take a look at, because while for mystics, bringing up the emotions and then tending to them in a conceptualization form is straightforward. For those who have trauma memory come up, it's a different emotional experience. So before there is a window of welcome, there is a window of tolerance. That's why the 3-year-old can be whole with a person who's now aware, okay, I have had childhood trauma, so I have PTSD, I have flashbacks, I have things that come up from my emotional body. I have things that come up from my attachment wounds. Okay, so with awareness, a person can handle the triggers and know what's coming up. With a group or not a group, doesn't really matter at that point, but once a person understands what's happening inside, there's the ability to use the mind. And here's where integration of the brain. So 5D mystics have a relationship with that space and field and Akash. 5D functional adults, they have a relationship with their self, with or without the psych education. They're like, okay, here are my thoughts, here are my feelings. I'm going to have a moment or more to tend to it. And equanimity. They both use equanimity. Now, this is a conscious choice that is made by people with or without information. 5D person is oneness consciousness because they take accountability and ownership. But there are differences for how the journey comes forth, which is also why it's not poof and done. Okay, and on that note, I wanted to remind my lovely regular listeners about that aspect of the past it carries with you. Because, see, you can do all the yoga you want, meditation, all of it. But if you don't know that you're a human baby first, and that those first 18 months of life matter, and the first 2 years of your life matter, and the first 3 years, and at that 3-year mark, you start to get yelled at, which can mean you get into shame. You don't really know if you're not feeling in the healthy self-worth. So you're not feeling I'm equal to all. And if you're superior in fear, that's not healthy self-worth. Healthy self-worth is I'm not superior, I'm not inferior. I am a person with a subjective thought and opinion, and if somebody doesn't like it, I learn and know how to stay in my securely attached body with my integrated brain and to speak with love and respect to another, independently from how they come towards me. I'm the secure adult. The securely attached human being is equanimous. And that's the 5D collective. So it depends. Mystic, we have a relationship. Again, ascension energies, they're always quite intense. Independently, I don't even know how many years it's been. Still intense. And I'm sure we'll have more to chit-chat about as time moves forward. For functional adults, though, what's intense is their day-to-day. So for those who are not collected, there's still stuff that happens outside of them. And they're dealing with it. And so while for us it's an inner exploration, us the mystics, for the functional adult it's an outer exploration, but in the essence it's the same, because you're still dealing with thoughts and emotions and consciousness and trying to explore it in a way that brings more to your adult life. So accountability again, and back to Julianne. Okay, neurobiology. Experiences shape the brain. This is Julianne Taylor Shore, LPCS, LMF. SCP, founder, IPNB, Psychotherapy of Austin. I have some courses with NICABM, and she is one of the people that's my educator. And so she talks about how our experiences shape the brain. Okay, and I'm going to explain it. The brain has a layer on top, the top part of it, and it's called the neocortex. I have horrible notes, by the way, but the neocortex is built up of tons and tons of millions of little columns of 6 neurons in a row. And we've got 2 that get their feed from parts of the brain that are experiencing the here and now, and 2 neurons that get the feed from what we already know in our implicit memory system. And then there's the other 2, they come in the middle. So we got 6, 2, 2, and the 2 in the middle, 6, that's reality. There's no time when you would be looking at the present moment without your history being a part of that experience. And if we're not paying attention to the possibility, a couple of things can happen. The past can have more influence upon you than the present. Okay, so that's a little explanation. A lot of individuals that I meet don't believe in neurobiology or the updated psych education. Somehow they don't understand that we're all emotional beings, but they do know about the 2-year-old. Okay, so your implicit memory, the first 3 years of your life, your brain only stores implicit memory. This is why when we wake up, we don't have to learn to walk again. And on that note, this is why there's a difference with a person who has had childhood trauma and attachment wounds versus one who instead is a securely attached person who has processed whatever emotional experiences in a way of being able to be in a window of welcome with them. Okay, so we have two groups here, independently from which group. These are not competitions, but there's a difference. So I know a whole heart with my emotional body. I have never felt that I should not explore any of my emotions. Actually, no, the depths of my core. Okay, so that's one way. When you meet people who instead don't have this depth of exploration, it's pretty clear. And that's where I'm going to take a step back and remind all of those who tune in why people like Patrick Tiahan, childhood trauma survivor and therapist, are important, and why the 4D collective, when they're only talking to you about DNA upgrade or only holistic or only spiritual or only this, they're not helping you to be empowered, because you don't know that your 3-year-old is with you. And you don't know that your karma is from your family of origin, if you will, and that you can actually grow up emotionally and not do unfinished business, thank you, Terry, with your wife or husband or partner or relationships. But to do that would require that a person, when they're in their human suffering body and saying, people suck, I can't trust this, that they would say, wait a minute, why am I being a person who's pointing at people? So stereotypes, generalizations, all those awful movies. I mean, I have fun watching movies, but they're awful. They don't show a grown-up, emotional grown-up. They don't show 5D mystic or functional adult or an enlightenment soul age person. So on that note, the way you move into who you are and who you can be is by creating a relationship with your emotional body. The emotional body is the heart of you. But before you get to do that, you want to understand that your 3-year-old is with you. So some people, it actually is not the immediate thing that they'll do because they're not able to be curious about their inner child. They're not able to have compassion yet because terror might be something that will want to come up, and so anger is going to mask it, or running away. There's a lot of ways you do defense mechanism unconsciously, which is also why we talk about this and that and creating mindful relationships. Mindful relationships are important because by being securely attached, for those who are 5D, within ourselves, we're able to hold that space for those of our oversoul and just in general people that want to have an exchange that can allow them to be met with the compassionate Zen Master eyes. Zen Master is because you're a human, I'm a human, and we do know if you get nasty, something's up with you. You're stressed, you're afraid, you're upset. I'm not going to use the whole devil, evil, demons, 4D, your soul contract ends, energy vampire. They've been doing this ever since I saw them start doing this. I'm like, what are they doing? Where's the energy part? Do they not understand energy? Even the whole, we need to protect. What are you protecting from? However, let me state, as I was saying before, the past comes with you. And so when I see 4D collective and 3D collective and other soul age groups, I know they serve a purpose because every body will only bring their person to where the person's ready. So dysregulated, modulated, embodied selves, they first need a certain amount of situations to take place before they might be ready to move into restorative embodied self, because see, compassion is dangerous to the 3-year-old that had to live in survival because they were not able to be vulnerable and they were not safe. And so their body will react with fear. It's not a devil or a demon. It's a poor childhood trauma survivor who needs a good therapist and or people to talk about stuff like this. So let's talk about love, compassion, why it's hard for some people. And remember, everybody will choose where they're headed next. As long as we're sharing love with each other, we can hope to create heaven in the body experiences for all. Whoever wants to move into that enlightenment soul age group, 5D mysticism and functional adults. Tune on in. Have a great day.